Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of 6 for 6. I'm your host, Trevor Williams. We got another 6 great college football games for you to watch this weekend in December. We got the first round of playoffs and then 2 bowl games also happening this weekend coming up. Obviously, there's been bowl games been going on as of late and the next coming days, but these are probably some, if not the best bowl games to probably watch leading up to the quarterfinals of the college football playoffs. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we probably got 2 more episodes of 6 for 6. And that kind of ends up rounding us out into the new year. So we got, how I want to say it. You got this week, and then you have the next week of Christmas, and then you can kind of round out the season pretty much going into the New Year's games. But we'll make that a special edition episode to roll it into season 4. So we only really got episode 21 and 22, and 20. So we got 3 episodes left of season 4. Definitely looking pretty good for the most part. But ladies and gentlemen, we are adding more history towards 6 for 6. We had another 6 for 6 in our correct predictions, ladies and gentlemen. So that makes an all-time of 3 6 for 6 picks that we had. And this is also another record of having 2 6 for 6s and 1 season of 6 for 6, ladies and gentlemen. Another milestone for this show that what we got going on. That improves our record, ladies and gentlemen, for season 4 to some really great numbers, I want to say. 70, 42, and 1. Look at that margin, ladies and gentlemen. We have just been killing it in our picks for 6 for 6, even though we've had some streaks where we were 3 for 3, but our margin of correct picks have gotten a lot better as time progresses on. Like I said, once we conclude season 4, we'll break it down the whole stats of what we got as a show for the last, season 2, season 3, and season 4, and looking at season 4 stats across the board. So looking pretty good for the most part for 6 for 6. I also want to do a shout out that my other show, Gridiron Gridlock, will be on Saturday as well. So we got 2 shows on our YouTube channel, ladies and gentlemen. So we got 6 for 6 comes out on Wednesdays, then Gridiron Gridlock on Saturday. Looking pretty good, if you ask me, talking about college sports so far, as well as other sports when we start talking about for 6 for 6 in the games that we got selecting for that. And then Gridiron Gridlock will transition to more of a college basketball once the college football season is basically done. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get the show on the road. First up, ladies and gentlemen, in this 6th slot, we got Memphis, NC State at the Union Home Mortgage Gasparetti Bowl. Oh, what a mouthful, ladies and gentlemen. That is Friday, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 11:30 p.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Pacific Time on ESPN. Memphis has a great year, 8-4. NC State had a rocky year of 7-5. But bowl games, players sit out. So our stats are hard to decide who gets the fighting edge. You have NC State getting bushwhacked against Miami, but Memphis struggling with Tulane, but in a close one, 38-32. So you got playoff teams of the caliber. I think Memphis is going to be a little bit more physical with NC State having players probably going to be opting out, and Memphis players could be opting out, but they want to finish the season strong. So give me Memphis to win this Gasparetti Bowl for a home mortgage. You can catch this game Friday, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 11:30 p.m. 11 a.m. Pacific Time on ESPN, and I have Memphis winning this one. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, in the 5th slot, we have Kennesaw State, ladies and gentlemen. First time making its introduction into 6 for 6, ladies and gentlemen, against Western Michigan. Myrtle Beach Bowl, Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, 8 a.m. Pacific Time on ESPN, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, Kennesaw State, 10-3. Western Michigan, 9-4. They played on December 5th for their conference championships and basically ended up winning it in a nice, convincing fashion, but in a close one. So we're definitely going to get a nice, interesting matchup between these 2 universities. I think Kennesaw State has done a lot to turn around their program, and they want to cap off the season with a win over Western Michigan in the Myrtle Beach Bowl. So give me Kennesaw State over Western Michigan in this matchup, ladies and gentlemen. You can catch it Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, 8 a.m. Pacific time on ESPN. And I have Kennesaw State winning this matchup. Now we are in the college football playoffs. First round, baby. We got JMU, who's the 12th seed, versus Oregon, who's the 5th seed. Saturday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 4:30 p.m. Pacific Time on HBO Max, TNT, and True TV, ladies and gentlemen. This is a no-brainer. I don't think we have too much to go in there. Basically, JMU just got in because of the Group of Five, got that bid as the highest conference championship. They had a great year, but I don't think they're going to be able to match Oregon's firepower in this one. If they do, it'd be a one Macros game, but I think Oregon will find a way to dominate, take care of business, put this game out of misery. Relatively quick and easy. So no more further discussions on that. JMU 12 seed, Oregon 5 seed. Saturday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 4:30 p.m. Pacific Time on HBO Max, TNT, and True TV, and give me Oregon with the victory. And the 3 slot, we got Tulane, who's number 11, Ole Miss, number 6 in the nation. 3 on Saturday, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 12:30 p.m. Pacific Time on TNT, HBO Max, and True TV. Tulane, 11-2, winning the American Conference. 16% chance of winning against Ole Miss without Lane Kiffin. That offense for Ole Miss is still clicking, still humming. Without the head coach, I feel like they'll find a way to still win this one. But if we're talking about later on in the playoffs, Ole Miss may have a hard time struggling with that. But give me Ole Miss taking care of Tulane in this matchup, ladies and gentlemen. You can catch Tulane, the 11th seed, Ole Miss, the 6th seed, Saturday, 3:30 p.m. Pacific Time, Eastern Time, 12:30 p.m. Pacific Time on TNT, HBO Max, and True TV, and I have Ole Miss winning it. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, and the in the sixth, in the second slot, number 10 Miami versus number 7 Texas A&M, noon Eastern Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Time on ABC and on ESPN. Miami long in this matchup in a very good, convincing fashion way, ladies and gentlemen. But Texas A&M losing to Texas in an embarrassing fashion, 27-17. A&M is hungry to make a statement, say, we are a good football team. We belong in the playoffs, and we're going to make a statement game out of this. But Miami, ladies and gentlemen, trying to find a way to get that win column back, to show that the ACC wasn't a joke this year. It was just tough, and teams were just beating up on each other. So it's going to be a very hard matchup at a noon kickoff between these two schools. But I have Miami winning it in a close one. You can catch number 10 Miami as the 10th seed, number 7, the 7th seed Texas A&M, noon Eastern Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Time on ABC and on ESPN. And I have Miami winning this matchup. Before we reveal the top game of the week, ladies and gentlemen, let's do a quick recap of the games we got going on this weekend. We got Memphis, NC State, Union Home Mortgage, Gasparilla Bowl, Friday, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 11 a.m. Pacific Time on ESPN, and I have Memphis winning it. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, we have Kennesaw State versus Western Michigan in the Myrtle Beach Bowl, Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, 8 a.m. Pacific Time on ESPN, and I have Kennesaw State winning it. In the 4th slot, ladies and gentlemen, we have JMU, who's the 12th seed, versus Oregon, the 5th seed, Saturday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 4:30 p.m. Pacific Time on HBO Max, TNT, and True TV. And I have Oregon winning this matchup. In the 3rd slot, ladies and gentlemen, we have the 11th seed Tulane versus the 6th seed Ole Miss, Saturday, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 12:30 p.m. Pacific Time on TNT, HBO Max, and True TV. And I have Ole Miss winning it. And the 2nd slot, ladies and gentlemen, we have number 10 Miami, who's the 10th seed versus the 7th seed Texas A&M, noon Eastern Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Time on ABC and on ESPN. And I have Miami winning this one in a very close one. There's going to be a hurricane in Texas, and it's going to be a ferocious one. So give me Miami to win this one. Now we have the game of the week. The Alabama Tide, the Tide that keeps rolling on, versus the Boomer Sooners on a very close one for the college football playoffs on Friday to kick us off with a high anticipation. 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time on ABC and on ESPN, ladies and gentlemen. These two schools have played each other already. Oklahoma ended up winning a close one, 23-21. But Oklahoma likes to play it close, and it's very hard for them to do anything. Alabama can beat good teams, but then lose close to teams that they shouldn't. They got embarrassed in the SEC championship against Georgia, 28-7, 3-touchdown possession. But if you look at LSU, when Oklahoma played, 17-13 when Alabama played, 20-9. We don't know what we're going to get from these two schools, but I think Alabama will find a way to beat Oklahoma on the road in a close fashion, and the tide will keep on rolling in the college football playoffs. So give me Alabama in this matchup. You can catch the number 9 seed Alabama versus number 8 Oklahoma, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern time, 5 p.m. Pacific time on ABC and ESPN. Let's get you a quick recap, and we'll get you on out of here so you can enjoy your week of college football and the bowl season. And the 6th slot, ladies and gentlemen, Memphis, NC State, Union Home Mortgage, Gasparilla Bowl, Friday, 2:30 p.m. Eastern time, 11:30 a.m. Pacific time on ESPN, and I have Memphis winning it. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, we have Kennesaw State versus Western Michigan, Myrtle Beach Bowl, Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern time, 8 a.m. Pacific time on ESPN, and I have Kennesaw State winning it. And the 4th slot, ladies and gentlemen, we got James Madison as the 12th seed versus Oregon, the 5th seed, 12 on Saturday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, 4:30 p.m. Pacific time on ESPN, on HBO Max, TNT, and True TV, and I have Oregon winning this matchup. In the 3rd slot, ladies and gentlemen, we got Tulane, the 11th seed versus Ole Miss, the 6th seed, Saturday, 3:30 p.m. Eastern time, 12:30 p.m. Pacific time on TNT, HBO Max, and True TV. And I have Ole Miss winning this matchup. And the 2 slot, ladies and gentlemen, the Hurricane of Miami coming through to mess up Texas A&M's beautiful season that they got going on. But all good things come to end. So give me Miami to win this one on Saturday, noon Eastern time, 9 a.m. Pacific time on ABC and on ESPN. And like I said, game of the week, ladies and gentlemen, the tide that keeps on rolling to destroy the Sooners for Oklahoma in a close one. Friday Night Lights, baby. 8 p.m. Eastern time, 5 p.m. Pacific time on ABC and on ESPN. And I have the tide that keeps on rolling, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, further in our record this year, another 6 for 6 in our picks, ladies and gentlemen. 3 in our program's history and 2 times in a season. Very big milestone that we got for 6 for 6, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully we can get a back-to-back 6 for 6 that has not happened, but can season 4 be that special occasion where we get that to happen? Stay tuned as we begin to wrapping up season 4 of 6 for 6. And like I said, our overall record for 6 for 6, ladies and gentlemen, is 70, 42, and 1. A beautiful record for season 4, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you much for supporting 6 for 6, and we'll catch you next time here on 6 for 6. So long for now. Bye-bye.